Good day, my amiable viewers. I welcome you to Literature Hub 247, an educative and interesting online literature class. This video is about an interesting novel titled Lekki Headmaster. Lekki Headmaster is written by Kabir Alabi Garba and is the JAMB-approved text for 2025. Earlier on this platform, I've discussed the plot summary of this novel. So if you need the link to that video, you can just make your request through the comment section and the link will be sent to you. So this particular video is about chapter 1 of Lekki Headmaster. Let's go into the classroom. You are welcome to the classroom. Lekki Headmaster, chapter 1. Now before we continue, before we go into the details, I want to remind us that we are not reading for fun. That is, we are not reading Lekki Headmaster for fun, but we are preparing for an exam, JAMB for that matter. So, I drew out some information that we need in this chapter. That's why I tagged it overview. That is, we are going to learn certain things in this chapter. Now, we have the name of the principal. You know the name of the principal in chapter 1. Why is he nicknamed Lekki Headmaster? You know, he's the head of a secondary school. Why is he called Lekki Headmaster? We are going to know about that in this chapter. Please just watch to the end. Brief description of the principal. Why is the principal emotional? That is, why is he emotional in this chapter? The name of the vice principal, the chapel prefects, some teachers and other staff members, the amount of the boarding fees, also some of the principal's initiatives and innovations in the school, that is, some of the things he introduced to the school, the beauties in Just Plato, how teachers are motivated and disciplined in Stardom School, and some other information. And let me tell you that these are the areas where JAMB will ask questions. So let's go ahead. The principal appeared to be a different person on the assembly ground that morning. The morning smile and the smart appearance are not there. You know, this is a person that is charismatic. So they are expecting certain behavior from him, but it's not there that morning. He took the microphone from Angel, the chapel prefect, but couldn't utter a statement as expected by the students and teachers. So Angel is the chapel prefect. When he tries to speak again, tears roll down his cheeks. The microphone later falls from his hand, and more tears roll down his cheeks. This surprised the teachers and the students, who fixed their eyes on him. Mr. Beppo Adewale then covered his face with his palms. That's the name of the principal, Mr. Beppo Adewale. It's Mrs. Grace, the vice principal, who moved to his side and asked him what the problem is. So, Mrs. Grace is the vice principal. 4 other members of staff also joined her. Instead of the principal responding, he continues weeping. Mrs. Titi, the school nurse, then offers him a handkerchief. So, Mrs. Titi is the school nurse. The vice principal instructs Mr. Justo Annabel, the chemistry teacher, to conclude the assembly, while Mrs. Happy, the nurse, and Mr. Ilana, the CRK teacher, take the principal back to his office. That is, Mr. Annabel is the chemistry teacher, and also we have also mentioned the nurse earlier. Mr. Ilana is the CRK teacher, and they asked to take the principal to the office. Necessity asks the principal what the matter is when he settles in his chair, but there's no response. Instead, the tears continue flowing. More teachers come in to console the principal at 8:05 a.m. but the vice principal tells them to go to their classes, except Mr. Becker, the guidance counselor. So that's the name of the guidance counselor of the school. They continue consoling and asking him questions for over 30 minutes. He continues sobbing. At times, he will shake his head. Information has reached some parents about the principal, but it is exaggerated that the principal is weeping and rolling on the floor. He keeps on repeating, Oluwa gbami o, save me, oh God. They have exaggerated the situation. They have been calling the vice principals to confirm this, that is the parents. At that juncture, the vice principal decides it's better to call Mrs. Ibidon Claus, the managing director, properly called MD. She's supposed to be at the school, but went out for a function. So Mrs. Ibidon Claus is the managing director of the school, and she's popularly called MD. There was an upsurge in the number of students in the boarding house when the management of Stardom schools reduced the boarding fees from 250,000 to 165,000. This also reduces the number of students coming late to the assembly. Almost all of them begin to turn up at 7:45 a.m. Before now, many students came late to school, which resulted from heavy traffic, as many of them come from different parts of Lagos. Remember, the setting of the book is Lagos State, Lekki, Lagos State. The school immediately raises the excursion fees and other items by 93,000. And interestingly, many parents do not complain. Some staff, especially Mr. Audu, the fine arts teacher, gossiped about this. So Mr. Audu is the fine arts teacher. He says it in his characteristic manner, humorously, that he swears that in matter of economics, the MD is a witch and wizard put together. Now, this is a flashback. Before the principal is expected to make responses on the assembly grant, some events have been conducted on the assembly grant. So this is a flashback to those events. The assembly commences early as usual. After the prayer is said, the next thing is the pep talk as announced by Angel, the chapel prefect. The principal introduced this 7 years ago, so this is one of the initiatives of the principal. The pep talk involves a student presenting a speech on a topic that have been given earlier or on the assembly grant. That is, such a student might have been given the topic earlier, but at times it will be given to him or her on the assembly grant. That morning, Ikena, an SS1 student, presented a different talk. He narrates his experience about the excursion they just had to Jos Plateau State. He expresses how beautiful Jos is. He compares it with London and New York and concludes that Jos is more beautiful. He is applauded as he continues by describing the conducive weather that makes him feel sleepy always. He can also describe the beautiful landscape where the rocks are arranged in dramatic and artistic postures. After a round of ovations, he pauses and tells the assembly that he learned from the host that Jos was more beautiful than that, but was affected by crisis. But the place remains the best tourist center, and that is why many important white men lived there during the colonial era. He mentions some places visited by the group, like the Lamingo Dam, the University of Jos, the Sherrod Hills, Wase Rocks, and Solomon La Amusement Park. He expresses his love to settle in Jos if he has the opportunity, instead of traveling to Canada or London, that is Japan. I think remember the Japan syndrome that is trending in Nigeria nowadays. Ikenna is welcomed back from the podium with a round of applause and yelling from his fellow students. Now back to the principal. The principal is expected to comment on the interesting narrative from Ikenna and make correction where necessary. That's how I normally do. He has been a great inspiration to the school for 24 years. That means the principal has been in the school for 24 years. He is regarded by the students and the people as a school builder who is passionate about the success of the students. You know, you might be asked in JAMB that how many years have the principal spent in Stardom School? So 24 years. They expect him to be proud of Ikenna as a testimony of the good education Stardom schools offer the students. But Mr. Adewale Beppo, the top light-skinned principal, nicknamed the Lekki Headmaster, is emotionally disturbed. You know, this is a brief description of the principal. That is tall and light-skinned. He's nicknamed the Lekki Headmaster when he was headmaster at Stardom Kiddies because he imitates characters in Village Headmaster, a local TV drama. So that is how Mr. Beppo is nicknamed Lekki Headmaster. At times, they call him Principal because he always says that the pronunciation of principal should not end with pa, that it should be pronounced principal. So we are learning a sort of oral English here, so that principal should not be pronounced principal, but the correct pronunciation is principal. The MD quickly drives to the school when the VP informs her about the principal's strange behavior. The school celebrated its over 90% success in the last WAS exam the previous day, that is a day to that day. The members of stars have served snacks, bottles of wine, and 20,000 each for SS3 teachers. So that's how they normally celebrate that. The teachers whose students scored distinction are given 30,000. However, Mr. Obong Ukaku, the chemistry teacher, and Mr. Ye Karim, the geography teacher, have served queries because their students had D. No teacher is sacked because no candidate scores F9. It is the tradition of Stardom schools to sack any teacher whose students score F9. Even Mr. Funso, the cousin of the MD, was sacked the previous year because of this. So this is how these teachers are motivated and disciplined in Stardom school. The MD invited the principal to her office when she arrives at 9:30 a.m. She asks him what the problem is, but the principal can't give any reason, but keeps on saying, "Thank you, I will be alright." The MD reminds him of his position and his importance in the school. She becomes more worried as the principal breaks down again. She puts a call through to Mr. Opewande, the physics teacher, who doubles as a pastor. He reports immediately and is surprised to see the principal in that mood, as he was not on the assembly ground. He asked the principal what the problem was. The MD tells him that is why she called him. Mr. Opewande bends down and talks silently to the principal. He urges him to reveal his mind to him and promises to make everything secret. He also reminds him of his position and importance in the school. When Mr. Wande sees that the principal is not yielding after speaking to him for close to 10 minutes, he suggests to Mrs. Ibino Gloss, the MD, that they should urgently call the principal's wife. The MD doesn't object to the suggestion and immediately asks Mr. Beppo for his wife's numbers, which he gives to her. The MD sees that it is an international number, and Mr. Opewande affirms that the principal's wife lives in London. Unfortunately, the two numbers called don't go through, and the MD tells Mr. Opewande to accompany the principal to his office. That is better he goes home. So the number didn't go through. The latter objects to the suggestion and says that it's not a good idea to leave him alone in that condition. The NG expresses her understanding of Mr. Okpe's fears, but her fear is the feelings of the parents when they see the principal weeping like a child. That the fear of the MD is how the parents will feel when they come to school and they see the principal cry. How would they feel? She concludes that Mr. Okpe should guide him to his office and arrange to take him home. She suggests that the guidance counselor can follow him home and that he might also visit the clinic as soon as possible. That is, the principal can also visit the clinic as soon as possible. So that's the chapter 1 of Lekki Headmaster. Please, if you are just joining us, you're joining this channel, please try and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon so that whenever any video is produced, you are going to be notified. You are free to share this video on any social media platform. Like the video, invite your friends and colleagues to join us. Don't forget I said I've earlier discussed the plot summary of Lekki Headmaster on this platform. So you can request for the link to that video and it will be sent to you through the comment section. So if you have any question, try and ask your question and it will be attended to. So let's meet in the next chapter. Thank you and God bless.